Guys, I have found the biggest correlation between Bitcoin and global liquidity index, M2 money supply, however you want to call it. So this is a weekly, okay? I've put 10 weeks, 70 days, all right? So now guys, as you see, we had downward movement in this overall area that I have put into a red zone. We had 9 weeks, 63 days of a down move for Bitcoin and for global liquidity index. After that, we had, let's say, time in between. I haven't really mapped it, right, for, let's say, visibility and simplicity of that chart of these theses, let's say. And as you see in here, we had the second block, 9 bars, 63 days again, with lower volume. That was trending towards the downside. I mean, global liquidity was trading towards the downside, same as Bitcoin. Bitcoin was following, right? I mean, Bitcoin is following because that's obviously offset of 70 days in this particular case. So now we have entered that 5 bars, 35 days of greenery for Bitcoin, and of course altcoins responded positively towards this action. Now we have let's say lack of that correlation. Let's say we've got money to supply that's going towards the upside, but as you can see in here, well, Bitcoin, at least at the moment in this particular block, is going towards the downside. So there are two scenarios, right? Of course, we might lose correlation between these two, and Bitcoin can head towards the well, basically downstairs, or that downtrend for Bitcoin on a weekly can just extend a little bit, and we can say have additional week or two, perhaps even 3 of downward movement. It's not going to be exactly mirroring. I mean, to be honest with you guys, I'm not sure. That's why I have put these question marks in here to try to figure out whether it's going to happen or not. But well, in case if it will, I have mapped everything, well, the best to my abilities, as you can see, following global money supply. So question mark in red, is that downtrend is going to kind of follow for the next couple of weeks or not? Are we going to see a little bit of a spike? But what I'm actually waiting for is something that is going to start during middle of June, 16th of June, at least for money to supply it did. So let's see how that is going to play out for Bitcoin, right? After that, we are going to have, of course, a little bit of a sell-off, and then expansion towards the upside for Bitcoin, right? I don't want to kind of zoom it out, I mean that green line, because I'm going to F things up in here, guys. But let's say if I'm going to zoom it out a little bit, you see that these waves for global liquidity are much higher. So potentially Bitcoin can surprise many people, guys. Of course, I'm not saying that it will, but if we are going to look at these at that correlation between these two, that's very, very likely. I'm actually curious what you guys think about it. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think will happen? Do you think that we are going to see the continuation of that trend towards the upside, or this is a a bear situation, right? Which I don't think. But anyways, my videos are not financial advice. Now guys, let's go into liquidity. Let's have a look what is going on from the standpoint of liquidity. So green, we've got a lot of green, but these greens are shorts, guys. As you can clearly see, we've got more shorts, which is going to be building that market for BTC towards the downside. I mean, most of the retail traders are going to be shorting, and the liquidity is going to be piling above us, right? But that's something that we can also see on 7 daily. As you guys can see, well, since Bitcoin was going towards the downside and dipped properly, lots of people entered into shorts. So I'm not going to say that Bitcoin is going to pump only because of that, but surprisingly, very often the price actually goes towards longs, right? There's definitely much less longs on the market. So let's actually have a look, guys, what I'm talking about from the standpoint of more visualized picture. So we've got weekly Binance USDT perpetual. You see, guys, what's happening? There is more liquidity above the current trading price for Bitcoin. So we've got level of $111 million, which is very juicy if you ask me, and that is at price of 109, well, almost $110,000 for BTC. But of course, we do have levels above even that previous line that I've just read, right? Like around 111, so on and so forth. And guys, if it's confusing, have a look here. You've got colors, right? So basically the purple, and that's 0, there is no money. I would say that, you know, smart traders are probably around these levels in here. Blue, right, which is kind of more difficult for market makers to catch them, because there is much more retail, there is more emotional, and these yellow you know, waves, right, or lines, as you can clearly see. So guys, based on this, I do believe that Bitcoin is going to go towards the upside, but I'm not entirely sure when exactly. At the moment, according to this, we could see a little bit of a let's say downward momentum, and that's in my opinion at least due to the fact that more liquidity is going to pile above, right, and therefore that's going to be much more juicier to grab. And I know that sounds disgusting, but this is the game that you guys are playing, and I do hope that you are aware of this. Okay, so looking at the market now, because probably you're thinking about altcoins, is it a good time to buy altcoins? Well, good time was a long time ago, to being honest with you, but well, if you've been looking for a little bit of a pullback, I would say that, you know, daily, weekly, you see what's going on the weekly, right? Many people were, you know, probably asking for these discounts, and now nobody's really interested into it, right? Well, you can see it by looking at the comments, right, on social media. I'm not talking about my channel in particular, but just in general, the sentiment of retail investors is really, really poor, and that means that, well, probably it's good time to invest, but of course, guys, not financial advice. Anyways, you see that on a daily time frame, guys, still we are going towards the downside, and now on 4 hourly at the time of recording this video, we are actually going towards the upside, pumping a little bit. So is this the end of that you know, pain, temporary little pain, or we could expect some more downside? In order to find out, we have to look at what Bitcoin's dominance is doing. So you see, that's the thing, that's the problem. Altcoins cannot really breathe properly because Bitcoin is taking all of the juice from the market, and juice, I mean money. Nonetheless, we still have these candles, a couple of percent of Bitcoin dominance going towards the downside, that is resulting basically in altcoins pumping. But as you can see, guys, we got the third week going towards the upside now for Bitcoin's dominance. So the question is, are we going to get the further rejection when this is finally going to end and we can finally enjoy gains from altcoins? To be honest with you guys, I wouldn't be you know, expecting that right now. Nonetheless, I believe that we are close, because, you know, from the standpoint of the weekly, what we could also do is some kind of a formation of a double top. And obviously, guys, I'm not saying that this is something that has to play out, right, but potentially that could be it. If we are going to trade above, we do have to remember that very significant level of resistance for Bitcoin's dominance is well, roughly at 67.5%. I am remaining bullish on altcoins. Well, for BTC, not really, at least short term. Of course, long term, definitely worth it. And nonetheless, perhaps that could be a good idea now to accumulate some altcoins, right? Because, you know, we could see a little bit of a wave here, but eventually at some point we are going to drop towards the lower levels, and that's how everyone is going to buy themselves a Lambo. Well, let's see. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope that you have guys enjoyed. And as always, peace and love, crypto.